trophied up. Yeah. Hey, do yo, trophied up. Do your dance when the G's up. Spaced out, got me geeked up. 10 toes on the west, can I beat us? You cannot. Shining every time they meet us. Rack 'em up, since 96. Been number one in LA, something slight, that's the gist.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talkin Galaxy ep.7. And today I'm here with my good friend Sean.
What is good, everyone? We have a long episode to go through today, talking about the past couple games we have, and as well just a lot of news going around with the club.
Yeah, let's dive right into it. We got a lot to cover today. Of course, the Galaxy midweek on Wednesday fell to Herediano 1-0. Let's just start with you, Sean. What do you think of this match?
You know, comparing it to Vancouver's game a week ago, we definitely stepped up the tempo from that game. I felt like our attack was a bit more out there, especially with Peck. However, I wasn't a big fan of Diego Fagundes, and if you were watching the live watch along from last week, you will also see I wasn't the hugest fan of Royce. I felt like that he needed to contribute more in this game. But overall, there was a lot of positives coming out of this, especially with Harbour Miller. I believe, was this his first start for the club?
This was Harbour Miller's first start, yeah. He ended up starting in the St. Louis game as well, his first MLS start, but this was his first general start for the club.
So, yeah, I think Harbour Miller had a good game, and then I also thought John McCarthy had a really good performance.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we'll talk about the goalkeeper discussion later, but there's already a lot of controversy around John McCarthy versus Novak Mitrovic, so we'll see who ends up getting the start on Saturday or Sunday, I believe, our next MLS game. But first of all, we got the second leg of this. In my opinion, I'm a bit disappointed, honestly, to see that the Galaxy fell in Costa Rica. When we went through our match predictions before this game, I think everyone was in consensus that the Galaxy were going to win. I know it's been a rough start to the year, but I think when you're going up to Costa Rica, you know, not on par with the MLS, you'd expect that your team would come out with at least a draw, and that was not the case tonight. It didn't work out for the Galaxy. If you watched our live stream, it was an incredible strike. I'll give Herediano credit. It was a great strike that got past John McCarthy. I don't think anyone's saving that goal really in MLS. Any MLS goalkeeper saves that. But I think this puts the Galaxy in a real danger for leg 2. We'll go over that a bit later, what leg 2 is going to entail. So I won't cross over too much into that. But I think this is a really poor result for the Galaxy, and I think there's a lot of right to be concerned. A lot of anger and frustration after this game, and I totally understand that. And yeah, it's just that was our third straight loss. It's not looking good for the Galaxy right now, and our hopes for Concacaf. I thought that the Galaxy in this game didn't make the best of their opportunities. There wasn't a plethora of them. I think we've seen a lot this season that our offense has struggled in times. And once again, being shut out. This team last year was like the Showtime Lakers. They just could not be stopped from scoring. And as you see here, another shutout. The Galaxy cannot get on the board right now. Our only goal coming from Gabriel Peck, and we were kind of fortunate to get that. And once again, just the Galaxy being showed up. So any last takeaways from this match, not including anything that we'll go over on leg 2?
I wanted to go over the starting 11 a bit here. We saw one huge thing here was Nelson and Aude starting, but not in the way you thought. We thought maybe if they would both start, you would see one be moved over to right back. But no, we saw Aude more up on the left wing or the left-hand side there, and he would drop back, making a more of a 5 at the back formation. But overall, we don't have much depth right now, and you can only do so much with the team we have.
Yeah. No, I think that's definitely worth noting. I was a bit surprised to see Harbour Miller get the start here. I honestly thought that he was my man of the match for this game. he played very well against St. Louis too. We'll go over that next. But I think that he was better in this game, if I'm being quite honest. But he was still serviceable in both. I thought he was a standout. He didn't look out of place, and that kind of surprised me a bit coming from a 17-year-old, that he would step into this match and not look out of place, obviously in place of Miki Amane, and his backup Amir Cuevas is out. I think I wanted to have this discussion, and I think it's this is probably the game to have it in. What do you do with Amir Cuevas when Harbor Miller is playing this good? I mean, obviously Harbor Miller is not going to start over Miki Amane. That's a given. But when Harbor Miller is playing this good, he looks more than capable to be the backup at that position for the Galaxy. Is Amir Cuevas somebody that you could part ways? Or Mauricio Cuevas. Is Mauricio Cuevas a guy that could step in for the Galaxy? Or should he be shipped in the summer for allocation money?
I don't think shipping him off would be the best idea or the best move, because realistically you wouldn't be getting a lot for him. But I think he does have a key role to play. Last season we saw him get subbed on the wing a bit. And again, considering our depth, I have no issues whatsoever with Cuevas being looked at as to be a backup winger to even Peck, as we don't have any backups for him right now. And then Harbor Miller is your backup right back, because as you were saying, Harbor Miller, man of the match last week in Costa Rica. He's just such a super player for such a young age.
I think that's very much worth noting, is that Mauricio Cuevas is somebody that could also play winger, a position that the Galaxy are kind of lacking depth at right now. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets in the mix when he comes back from injury. This is his spot. This is where Mauricio Cuevas should be. He should be starting in these matches. Obviously, the injury kept him out, but I think he's honestly a player. If the Galaxy are at $0, which by the way is a real thing, the Galaxy have $0 in general allocation money left. If you're looking at a guy like Mauricio Cuevas, is there trade value within the league for him? Because Harbor Miller, I feel comfortable with being the backup. I think he reminds me a lot of Julian Ade, and I feel like that's an easy comparison, but I think it's the right one, because I think he could do a lot of things that I think he does a lot of things in the attack that's beneficial. He's not scared to get up. And as Ant points out in the chat, Harbor Miller can also play right wing back for Ventura County. I think we'll go over a bit later, but Miki Amane looks to be making his return for the Galaxy very shortly here. Could be available for Wednesday, more likely at the weekend. Does he come off the bench for the Galaxy? Mauricio Cuevas' injury is a bit more long-term, so he'll definitely get the shot in there. So I think this was a very interesting game, but more than anything, I took Harbor Miller kind of as the standout performer. You could go over a lot of things that went wrong for the Galaxy. I think they'll be looking at the tape very much before tomorrow's match at what happened and what went wrong here. I think our offense has been very lethargic this season, and it's a very disappointing result in Costa Rica. So and no, it is, by the way, for anyone asking in the chat, it is Sean and I tonight. That is the lineup. It's the Dream Squad though. And so I mean, it's a must-win game. When's Nascimento playing? We will have some news on Nascimento shortly here, but first of all, let's go over the other game that happened, the more recent game and the more devastating game, honestly, is the LA Galaxy falling 3-0 to St. Louis City SC at home. This is our second consecutive home loss, and this is our fourth consecutive loss in all competitions. And I honestly feel like the Galaxy probably played some of their best soccer in spurts this game, which is very weird when it's a 3-0 loss. And you could say that, hey, I feel like the Galaxy played some of their best soccer in this game, but I feel like that is the case because I think we created chances more than we did in any of the previous games. Marco Reus had one off of the post that could have very well went in and changed the dynamic of that game. I think if the Galaxy got on the board first, I don't know if we lose this game. I don't know if we lose this game if the Galaxy get on the board here first. And I say that because And I think Roman Berkey may have gotten a fingertip on the Marco Reus save. Obviously, very long time friends at Borussia Dortmund. But I think the Galaxy are a team that's built to stay in command of games. I think the Galaxy are a team that plays best when they have the lead. I know, shocker, right? But the Galaxy are a team that benefits from having the lead and making teams chase the game. When the Galaxy go behind a goal, you've seen a lot this season that they just fall off a cliff. The heads go down, they get demotivated, and they've just never really climbed out of a hole. And it's the same thing this game. But yeah, what'd you make of this performance, Sean?
Yeah, I agree with this being really our best game of the season, which is really weird to say considering, again, we lost 3-0 at home. But when you look at it and the chances we got, I was there, and like in the first like 25-ish minutes, I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna get a goal before the half. Like, there's just no way we don't at least get two goals in this game. But then just like as the game went on, we saw that goal that St. Louis scored off the corner, which just is a big mistake on the entire team. We saw miscommunication with Mikovic, Yoshida. We saw Royce standing still, not even attempting to move. But then come in the second half, again, I was still confident that we would get a result out of this game, but then St. Louis get a second, and then they go down and get a third late in the game. We had our chances. We 100% had our chances, just could not make the most out of them, which ended up costing us this.
I just want to point out in the chat that I think Ant makes a very good point. I think the team looked a lot better on the field as well. But I don't agree with I mean, I think we just have to accept that when a team is losing a game, the fans are going to leave the stadium, especially when you're down 3-0. So I'm not too worried about that. Honestly, I just think they're very disappointed. I know you heard a lot of we want Barry chants, I guess was around the stadium. I don't know. I was in ACB, but I agree. I think the team looked better on the field than 3-0 would suggest. But let's start with the first goal, the most pivotal goal, in my opinion. The thing that changed all the momentum for the Galaxy was conceding that corner kick. And let's just go over that real quick. I want to be very straightforward and say that Novak Mitrovic absolutely should take the blame for this goal. I think if you're a goalkeeper, that ball's within your 6-yard box, you have to claim it. That has to be yours. If you want to be the starter for the Galaxy, you go out last season, you request a trade, you say, I want to go, you're not playing me. And the Galaxy punish you. You come back this year, you're the starter. You're the starter. The Galaxy win MLS Cup, but you are the guy for them. They decide to bench the MLS Cup winning goalkeeper. And I've had Novak Mitrovic's back a lot this year, but I think it's very fair to be critical on him on this, because if you are going to come in, demand a trade and like say, start me or I want to get a trade. I want to go. I want to be elsewhere. And they're like, okay, we'll start you next year. And you start and you can't claim a ball in your 6-yard box. It's just disappointing. It's just disappointing, honestly, because you're a professional goalkeeper. You have to be stronger. And I know that there was some miscommunication with Maya Yoshida on that. So I'm not, I wouldn't say it's 100% blame on Novak Mitrovic, but I think a large portion goes to him because you have to collect that ball. If you're in the air, it's in your hands, it's yours. You're the goalkeeper. You command the box, and you haven't seen him do that. I will say, counterpoint, to counter my own point, I think that John McCarthy wasn't much better with set pieces. So, anyone acting like, John McCarthy is a set piece legend also is false. But I think that Novak Mitrovic, if you want to be the starter, you want to be the guy for the future for the Galaxy, you have to do better. You have to be more confident. And we'll go over that a bit later. But I just wanted to point that out. And then Marco Reus, what are you doing? If you watch the replay, a shameless plug, LA Galaxy _buzz. It's on my Instagram account. Marco Reus is frozen. He's stuck in his tracks. If you come over from Dortmund to the Galaxy, you win a league title. You have to show some effort. You have to show some effort. If you're Marco Reus, I know he's accomplished it all. He doesn't need the Galaxy to affect it. Like, it won't affect his legacy whatsoever. But if you're coming to the Galaxy, you have to that's your man. That's your man on the corner that ends up scoring the goal, and he's frozen. If you look at the replay, stuck in his tracks, doesn't move an inch. That is not the passion for the club that you want to see from Marco Reus. That is the end of my rant. But go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, pretty much anything I say will be similar to what you just said. It's unacceptable for Royce to not even just be walking in the box.
Yeah.
There's no reason you shouldn't be marking a guy, especially when you see the person you're meant to be marking running towards where the ball is incoming. I mean, I don't think Royce could have predicted the mistake Mikovic had with Yoshida, which is understandable, but he just needed to do so much better there. Again, I think his overall game was solid, much better than what we've seen from him this season off the bench as well as starting. But man, just that one play is just what doesn't give me confidence with him. Because if we had Ricky Puig there, again, that's going to be something you hear me say, and I'm sure everyone else on this podcast say all season long. If Ricky Puig was there, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, I want to be very clear. It wasn't Marco Reus' fault entirely. I'm not going to blame it on him. I want to be very clear on that, is that it is Novak Michovic's fault that goal goes in. Let's not get that confused whatsoever. But if you are Marco Reus as well, I already gave Novak Mitrovic his time. Marco Reus, you got to show more effort. You got to make an attempt to look like that you care, because you have not lived up to expectations so far for the Galaxy. And I will say, I'll give him credit. This was his best game. This was his best game of the season for the Galaxy. I think that he has been making gradual steps up every game. I think Marco Reus has made a step up, and I like that. I enjoy that. Every game since I think it started with Herediano. The first leg against Herediano, I thought he was more active. I thought he was present on the ball, because the first 2 games of the season, Marco Reus was not involved. He was uninterested, and he was not there for the Galaxy, and he needed to be. You are the guy that's in for Ricky Puig, club legend Ricky Puig. You have to be there. You have to be that guy. You have to step up. You've done it in Europe. And he's not even injured right now. He's not even injured. He's healthy. He's ready to go. He's going to carry a chunk of the minutes with all the injuries that we have right now, at least until we get people back. I think that there's a real discussion. I'll start it right now, Sean. I think Diego Fagundes should be the starter at attacking midfielder. I think that Diego Fagundes has played a lot better at attacking midfielder than he has on the wing. And we could be critical of Diego because I think he's also been non-involved. When you look at somebody, the Galaxy traded Mark Delgado, Gaston Brugman, Dejan Joveljic, Jalen Neal, because we had cap issues. And you know who's taking $1.3 million in cap space? Diego Fagundes, who's done nothing this year, done nothing productive for the Galaxy this year. What do you make of Diego Fagundes? Do you think that he's better off at attacking midfielder? Because that's where I feel like I'm at right now.
I think, yeah, he is better off at attacking midfielder. And once Nascimento comes back, I'll touch on this a little later. I think that is where we will see Fagundes at. But really with Fagundes as well, I want to touch on this as well. You have Marco Reus and Diego Fagundes making over $3.5-ish million.
Yeah.
And combined, you are most likely not going to be getting 20 goal contributions out of both of them. No. Again, combined there. And that is really disappointing to me because it's not like Fagundes is a younger player. He's been in the league for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
He's been with the Galaxy for a long time, too. What, about a year and a half now?
Oh, so yeah. No, he's been here since 2023.
It's not like he doesn't know the system. I mean, obviously, it's going to take time to get used to the players around you, especially when you're missing the heart and soul of the Galaxy, Ricky Puig. But he's just not stepping up. And that just really worries me for about the next month and a half-ish when you still have Payne still out and you still don't know if Nascimento will be able to provide on the wing. Yeah. So, I mean, hopefully he improves. We mentioned it on the watch-along, how Fagundes said he wants to push to be an all-star this season.
Yeah.
He's not going to be an all-star with these types of performances, and rightfully so.
And Diego Fagundes is a guy who's been looking to be a starter as well. You sit behind Peck. You sit behind Paintsil. You're not going to start. I get that. But he knows that. But when the opportunity comes up, this is why you're the backup. When somebody goes down like Joseph Paintsil, you have to be the guy to step up. You are making money where you need to step up. And honestly, if I'm the Galaxy and I'm looking at players that could potentially open up cap space in the winter or in the summer, maybe winter, but the Galaxy are at $0 in cap. You know what would clear a lot of cap space? Diego Fagundes. And I'm not saying right now pull the trigger on Diego Fagundes. I'm saying you have to step up or you're going to be a cap casualty because you're making too much money to not step up for the Galaxy right now. And I think people could be harsh on Diego Fagundes and Marco Reus because, like you said, Sean, look how much they're making. That's not light money. That's a lot of general allocation money. Those players combined make so much money. If we hypothetically got rid of Diego Fagundes in the summer, we would open up $1.3 million plus whatever we get in the trade. Maybe it's not that much because he takes up a lot of cap, but we would get that money back. That's a lot of money. And then you can invest in I'm not saying I'm not there yet, but it's in my head now where it's like, okay, if you could get rid of Diego Fagundes' salary of $1.3 million, offload Julian Ade, Julian Ade is another guy. You have to be the starter. This is his third year now, and he's not the starter for the Galaxy. He's been the starter at a point. John Nelson took his spot last year. And Julian Ade is not won the starting spot. He's not making a lot of salary, but he's taking a U22 spot, and that's very important to the Galaxy. And I think if you want to be the Galaxy and you're like, okay, if I'm Will Kuntz right now, I'm thinking maybe Julian Ade and Diego Fagundes are guys that could open up a cap space and a U22 spot to invest in maybe a U22 winger, unless Nascimento is that guy, and then just get a U22 striker. Look, once again, I'm not there yet, but it's in my head that these guys are cap casualties right now, and they're not stepping up. Marco Reus, I don't think you could get out of. I don't think you get out of Reus' contract this year. But yeah, I love John Nelson too. And then, yeah, just to clarify, we will not be doing a watch along tomorrow unless Sean makes the game. But we'll touch on that later if it happens. But if Sean does not make the game, then he might do a solo watch along. But I will be at the game, so I will not be there. But yeah, let's go into this Novak Mitrovic discussion here, Sean. What do you think Novak Mitrovic is he still your guy in goal? If you're Greg Vanney, take away everything. Okay. If you're Greg Vanney, is he starting?
So I want to touch on this probably more than I should be, and so I'm sorry if I go on for this for a little bit.
You're good.
But we, in my opinion, do not have a goalkeeper issue. I mean, we have goalkeeper competition, but we have a defense issue. This goes to every single defender on this roster. Let's look at the games we played this season and last season. St. Louis at home, last year, we gave up 3 goals, but we tied 3-3. Last year at home, or last year on the road, we gave up 2 goals to Vancouver. This year, we also gave up 2 goals, but last year we won 3-2. San Diego, it's kind of tough to compare them to a current MLS team. But for example, like we lost to Austin last year, 2-0 on the road. So it's not like these results are brand new where you can be judging Mitrovic here. You had a team last year give up a ton of goals every single game, but got bailed out because you had arguably one of the greatest attacks in MLS history on the club. So going after Mitrovic here is just making him a scapegoat. And I feel that it's kind of wrong just to single him out here because we gave up another set piece last week or against St. Louis. How many set piece goals did we give up last year with McCarthy? I'm not saying John McCarthy is a bad goalkeeper. I think if Mitrovic doesn't step up and we keep on seeing these games, yes, you should bring Mitrovic back. Not Mitrovic. You should be seeing McCarthy back in the 11 because, as you mentioned earlier, Peyton, Mitrovic wanted to leave because he wasn't getting game time. Now he has the game time. He needs to step it up. So yeah, I do think Mitrovic's overall game, especially when it comes to distribution, should be stepped up. But to me,
15 goals by set pieces.
15 goals last season?
Yeah.
And that was second most in the league, you said?
Yeah.
Wow. But again, this season, you can see a lot of the same type of goals we gave up last year, but a lot of different results compared to last year because you have 3 U22s who are not starting your games, as well as 2 DPs who are not starting your games here, which is a huge issue because you spent all this money, all this energy in the offseason going for these players, for them not to play, which already now puts an even bigger job on the defense, which clearly was struggling last year for them. And now you expect them to do better when you didn't upgrade your defense at all, in my opinion. Garces, great defender. He's been a bit off this season though, but
Sophomore slump.
last season, I feel like he came in and did what Jalen Neal couldn't do, and that was be physical and read the game more. But Mayo Yoshida, is he a guy who you wanted to be your starter this season potentially, or did you think you could see somebody else there?
I think that Maya Yoshida has taken a step back this year, if I'm being brutally honest. And I mean, it should be expected. One thing that frustrates me with Maya Yoshida is honestly, and I'm not there in the locker room to like say this, so maybe, I don't have the most clear of takes on this, but from my perspective and what I've seen, it feels like his body language is down. It feels like he does not want to be here. And I could be totally reaching. I'm sure, LA is a beautiful city. I'm sure he loves it. But, ever since he took that contract reduction, it seems like he's just been down this year. It seems like he's been uninterested, unmotivated. But Zonka hasn't proven to be much better with the Vancouver goal that he gave up on that one-on-one. But going back to Novak Mitrovic, I think you're absolutely right. A lot of the issues we have this year has stemmed from the fact that our offense, you know what they say, offense is the best form of defense. Because if you're the team that's on the front foot, possessing the ball, scoring goals, controlling the game after you score the goals, which the Galaxy did so well last year, if you're that team, you're going to have so much success. But the Galaxy aren't that team without Ricky Puig. They're not that team without Joseph Paintsil. Will it change when Paintsil comes back? Lord, I hope so, because if it's not, we're in for a long season. But I think, the Vanny quote right here on concerns Novak Mitrovic's confidence in goal, yes or no, is exactly where I'm at right now. I'll play devil's advocate both sides here, Sean. I think that it's too early. While it is too early to bench a goalkeeper, I think that you have to give Novak Mitrovic more than 3 starts. Like, I get it. He's been rough in some of these games. I also agree with you, Sean. I think he's been a scapegoat of some of the goals because it feels like after every goal the Galaxy concede, whether it's his fault or not, he's getting the blame. And it's like at a point that gets ridiculous because, like, I guarantee if Novak Mitrovic was in net versus Herediano, there would be some people blaming him for the Herediano goal, which was just a banger and wouldn't have been saved by anybody in MLS. But regardless, I think that Novak Mitrovic has absolutely had some. I mean, goalkeeper. I played goalkeeper, obviously not at a professional level, but I played goalkeeper at a high school level and a club level. It is such a confidence position. It is the hardest position in soccer, in my opinion, because it's all about confidence. It's all about the mental game. Novak Mitrovic looks like a guy who's out of it right now. And to me, it's like you don't have an excuse to be out of it, though. Like, I get it. I get that it sucks, and I get your defense isn't doing you any favors, right? I 100% agree with that. But I also think that like I said, if you're going to request a trade, and if you're going to come in and be like, I'm that guy, make me the starter, I'm out, and you play with no confidence, everyone's right to be critical of him for that, because I think a lot of people lost a lot of respect for Novak Mitrovic when he put in a trade request. And honestly, I was on the opposite end of that when he put in a trade request. I was like, when Novak Mitrovic put in the trade request, I was like, I mean, I wasn't there for the confrontation, whatever he did to Greg Vanny. So, maybe this suspension was absolutely deserved, but I thought he should have started the League's Cup game against Seattle last year, because I was like, wait, he just played 2 very good games against Chivas and against San Jose, and he's getting benched for the round of 16. I mean, I get the fact that you need John McCarthy in to get consistent minutes. We had the MLS season. You know, I mean, I just think that Novak Mitrovic needs to step it up now. And we did get a question from the chat. How much more time does Novak Mitrovic have, in your opinion, Sean?
I think you give him a total of 5 starts. And I say 5 starts because I'm confident McCarthy will have a solid game again Wednesday. But if he doesn't have a solid game, and let's say we lose 3-0, 3-1, I think Mitrovic has a little more time there. Maybe you're pushing 7, 8 games.
Yeah. I mean, this quote, I feel like makes me a bit more concerned about his starting status than. I mean, look, I'll say this now. If Novak Mitrovic heads to the bench, there is a very low chance you'll ever see him again in a Galaxy uniform, in my opinion. And hey, we carry 4 goalkeepers, so it's not entirely an issue if John McCarthy's the starter for this year and JT Marcinkowski is the backup. But I think Novak Mitrovic's time is limited. But like I said, I think there's a certain danger in that because I think, what's up, Eli? I think if you bench Novak Mitrovic now, destroys his confidence. He's gonna want out again. He's like, unless somehow there's a huge change, I think that Novak Mitrovic being benched would end his Galaxy career, and it would be the worst thing that could happen. It could be the worst thing that could happen to him if you pull the trigger too soon. I think that you give him a bit more time. Look, will Greg Vanny give him time? I think he for sure starts. We'll go over the match against Herediano, but I think he starts. I don't think he starts that match against Herediano, but I think that he will start at the weekend against the Portland Timbers when the Galaxy make that road trip. So, yeah, what do you think, Sean? What do you think on that, Sean?
For McCarthy, for the quote or for who starts Wednesday?
Who do you think starts tomorrow?
Tomorrow it's McCarthy. 100%
Okay.
McCarthy.
Yeah, yeah. Eli says he'd rather have Sketch in goal than Novak Mitrovic. Hey, Sketch put in an absolute worldie of a performance. I will say that. Before we go into some injuries, we will just quickly cover the last thing on the St. Louis game. I promise I won't scar you guys anymore. The Galaxy, fun stat, making history. The Galaxy are the first MLS Cup champion to lose the first 3 games of the following season in MLS play. This doesn't even count our Concacaf game. We are the first team to lose the first 3 games of the season. Not the side of history you want to be a part of. So, what do you make of this, Sean?
Yeah, this really sucks, bro. I can't lie. No matter what way you look at this is just a sad day for the Los Angeles Galaxy, especially coming off of your 6th MLS Cup win to go into the next season. I mean, you have a lot of rotation in the squad, but to lose the first 3 games in a row with 2 of them being at home, it's such a low. And hopefully things improve from here, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's really disappointing, honestly, to be on this side. If you told me, even with all of the injuries we have right now, if you told me we would lose all 3 games to start the year, I would be a bit surprised. I mean, now that you look at it, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm sure injuries do play part in that. Well, a huge part in it, like a huge reason why. I don't think this is close. I don't think we make this record without the injuries we've been having. But like even the San Diego game, we'll have predictions on Herediano and Portland today, but I'm a little lower on this team than I was to start the season. Even given the injuries we've had, I think this has been a bit of a surprising start for the Galaxy to start the year. But it is, we're just gonna have to work through it. We're gonna have to work through it. It's gonna fade away. The Galaxy will be fine at a point. Teams go up, teams go down. I will be at the digs tomorrow. I see in the chat, Adrian. I will be at the digs, rain or shine. Maybe Sean will be there. Sean and I linked up at last home game, got an iconic picture recreation of the Sean meme. But let's open this segment up to questions from the chat. Go ahead, shoot questions our way, and you could address it to Sean or I or both of us. Go ahead. And yeah, let's open it up before we transition into some injuries and then preview of LA Galaxy versus Herediano. ACB section 121, baby. I will be there tomorrow. I will be there. I have season tickets in ACB, so yeah.
Well, we get questions in here. I wanted to bring this up. I made a post after the game last week in Concacaf, and I want to get my point here. This is just my thoughts. You guys are all entitled to your own opinion and thoughts, but I don't think there's a reason to be giving up on this team yet. You have, again, I mentioned it earlier, 3 U22s, 2 DPs who are not starting your games, and who also 5 of those players are not playing in your game, or 4 of those players are not playing in your games because they're injured. You had rotation already coming into the season from players lost. And again, you have 5, 6 players-ish injured on this club.
Yeah.
So
6.
you were going to be at a low point once you saw those injuries happen here. But that is just not enough for me to give up on the squad. Better days are ahead, especially with Payne still coming back soon. Well, hopefully soon, as well as other key players coming back here.
No, I 100% agree with you, Sean. I think that better days are 100% ahead for the Galaxy. I'm not giving up on this team yet. 138, we got a Lars guy here. Respect Lars, 100%. Let's see. When do you think Joseph Paintsil will be back? We'll go over that. We'll go over that a bit later here. But we do have news on Joseph Paintsil. Very positive news. I know Galaxy fans love to hear that we have positive injury news. So yeah, we got good news on Paintsil that we'll go over a bit later. But yeah, send any questions before we move on here. But yeah, I mean, Brandon, start a Galaxy fan page, and you're absolutely welcome on the podcast anytime, man. I'll ask you a question here, Sean. If you could change your Galaxy predictions to start the season, where would you have us? Oh, there we go. We just got in the chat. As soon as I said that, go ahead. Any new predictions on how we'll end the season? Chat. Oh, okay, Sean, you get a one-time change before we do mid-season predictions. You get a one-time change. Go ahead. Where do you have the Galaxy?
It's really, really, really difficult to make here. And I'm sorry, I should just tell you where I think. But again, it is difficult because you don't know when players are coming back. But I have to think you're in the 6th, 7th position now.
No, you didn't just do that meme. You didn't just do the 6-7 meme. No, you did not just do that.
I think we're gonna be in the 6th or 7th position here. I already predicted us being at 4th anyway, so I mean 2 positions down from where I had us is a lot better than saying no playoffs.
I think the Galaxy ended 9th. I'm low on this team right now. I'm very low on this team. I'm absolutely with you, Eli. I think the LA Galaxy are in big trouble right now. I think you lose points early on in the season. You're just going to be climbing back. This team was not going to be the same. And by the way, I had the Galaxy 3rd in my prediction. So to go from 3rd to 9th, maybe I'm reactionary. But I haven't seen anything from this team to say that we will finish. Yeah, 9th. I think that the Galaxy will finish 9th. I think it's very hard to miss the playoffs in MLS. So, I mean, we've done it for sure. But when you expand the playoff format to 9 teams, I think it's very difficult to miss the playoffs, especially with this roster regardless. So I think we will make the playoffs. But 9th place is where I'd put us right now. Question from Eli. Who from Ventura County FC do you think we need most right now?
Well, I know a couple of people in the chat have already said it, but Dylan Vanny had a really good game. I believe in the home opener. But somebody in this
Brady
level
Scott
club. No Brady Scott. No. He's still the 4th choice, unfortunately.
Hey, I know how some people feel about Novak Mitrovic. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Dylan Vanny, rising star of match week 1 for Ventura County. I think you know what? I'll agree with you. I think Dylan Vanny. I know Ventura County have only played 1 game, but my other shot would be Senge. I think a Senge at center back could change up some things for the Galaxy. And by the way, I heard that the Galaxy, if you're wondering why we haven't had a Jalen Neal replacement, this bit of like inside information here. Jason Buckner is a good shout, by the way, but I think Harbor Miller has that locked at right back right now, at least till Miki Mane comes back. I think Asenge is a very good prospect for the Galaxy, but apparently they have somebody within the academy they view as the Jalen Neal replacement. So if you're looking for an outside Jalen Neal replacement, I wouldn't be looking for that because I think it's going to come within the academy for the Galaxy, which is exciting, honestly, given the struggles that we've had bringing guys up from the academy. I think it's exciting times. But I'll go Dylan Vanny and but Senge to be different there. Let's see. Next question: is Vanny getting enough criticism, Sean?
Yes and no. I feel like blaming this all on Vanny is harsh, especially when it comes to saying, "Oh, he didn't bring in any good replacements or any depth," because he kind of did, and it's just unfortunate they all got injured. But I also say no for not enough criticism because we've seen he's more as supposed to be a defensive-minded coach, and we haven't had a good defense here in any of his years with the club.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. Let's see. We already kind of went over Novak Mitrovic. I think his time is a bit limited to step up for the Galaxy now, just to quickly go over that one. But Tucker Lepley, let's talk about Tucker Lepley here. Tucker Lepley, do you think he deserves more time? I know we have some very passionate Tucker Lepley defenders in here. This will be our okay, yeah. This will be our second to last question because I see another one I like in here. Go ahead.
Yes, he deserves more playing time. He can play. I think you might even have to have a shot of him playing on the wing just because we saw during preseason he's fast and we don't really have speed on the wing. But yeah, you need to be seeing more of Tucker Lepley this season.
I agree. If Tucker Lepley is not starting, I was a bit surprised, honestly. I mean, I know I kind of talked about it. Greg Vanny has more trust in Isaiah Parente. And I think Parente looked fine in the St. Louis game. I didn't really see anything spectacular from him, but he also didn't seem too out of place. But I think Tucker Lepley needs more minutes with the injuries that we have in the midfield. This is the time for him to step up. And Greg Vanny just hasn't really given him a shot. He subbed in, but Tucker Lepley Hive, I'm here and I agree. Last question before we move on. Pepe Mangiana, I think that's how you say it, getting a shot this year. That is the player I'm referring to. Pepe Magana, I think I don't know. I'm not really good with the pronunciation of that. He is the guy the Galaxy view as the Jalen Neal replacement, by the way. And he's young. He's still in the academy, but he's coming off of the bench for Ventura County this year. He could break into the starting role, but I think the Galaxy are very high on him. I think they're extremely high on him. They view him as the Jalen Neal replacement of the future. He gets a lot of high praise from people within the organization. So I think that keep an eye on that name, Pepe Mangana. But yeah, that's the last thing. Let's move on to injuries. We'll start with Nascimento. Oh, that is not the. Let's start with Nascimento right here. Nascimento is back on the field, and he could make his debut against Portland. He will not feature tomorrow, more than likely. But Nascimento is a guy we're missing right now, very much, my good friend Sean. Are you excited to see him potentially get his debut? You think he'll contribute a lot towards this team?
I think he will contribute a lot. I'm also saying that because I picked him as my breakout player of the season.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm also kind of hoping that works out. But no, yeah, I think he has a big role to play. I've mentioned it a few times now, but he can play striker. We've also seen a bit. He can play on the wing. He seems like he is a technical guy. Also seems like he has some good pace. And for that reason alone, he's already a step above Fagundes for me, for the left wing shouts. And so, yeah, we were mentioning it earlier about Fagundes potentially being moved to attacking midfielder. I think that is going to be the move you do, especially if Nascimento is even just half decent at left wing. Your attacking three would need to be Nascimento left wing, either Berry or Ramirez at striker. I mean, Barry's been solid in the games. He's been having impacts, but that's a
He's
whole
been
nother.
better.
That's
Yeah,
another discussion. Peck,
yeah,
and then your midfield three, as of right now, in my opinion, should be Fagundes, Sorio, and Winder. Those
yeah.
are the three that need to be your midfield. Because
By the
Royce,
way, oh, go ahead, go
still
ahead.
not. Sorry, Royce. Just again, in my opinion, he needs to be a leader type, someone who, if Yoshida wasn't here, should be getting the armband because he should be leading the team, not because of his name. But he's just not leading this team
Yeah,
anywhere right now.
yeah. I mean, Roderick from Diary of a Wimpy Kid, man. I think this guy's going to make a good impact on the Galaxy this season. I think saying my hair kind of looks like his, I think is the greatest insult I've ever. Whatever. I think Nacia Menta at winger is the move for the Galaxy. You move Diego Fagundes to cam. You move Nacia Menta out wide. Ramirez up top. And the Galaxy are cooking. We'll go over our starting lineup for the Portland game and Herediano. What we kind of view is what the Galaxy will go with. But I think Nascimento will make a great impact for the Galaxy, in my opinion, and I'm excited to see him. It's about time. This guy's injured, like they said in the chat. Guy's injured before he even played. Just very, very disappointing. I hope it's not a sign of things to come on his injury history, but I think him making his debut will only make the Galaxy stronger. You'll see that Brazilian connection with him and Gabriel Peck, maybe another guy. I think Peck will also help with Nascimento's integration in the squad, in my opinion. I think, when Peck came to the Galaxy, Juninho was the guy that really helped him come along, really helped him get adjusted and, adequately equipped to play for the Galaxy and step up. Because if you remember, Peck wasn't great at first. It took about 2 months for him to get settled in, and he came around good. Now you have Peck to mentor Nascimento, and as well as Juninho, who I think will play a really good role in that. So I'm excited to see Nascimento make his debut. He should start. If he's available, I think he'll start for the Galaxy. We're at that point. So especially if Royce gets the start tomorrow, because I don't think you could play Royce. I don't think you could start Royce 3 times, and I don't think you could start Royce 3 times in a week. That's a bit ridiculous at his age. But Miki Amane, my good friend Sean, is expected to be back against Portland as well. A lot of good injury news for the Galaxy right now. Miki Amane is a long shot for tomorrow. Nascimento is also likely out. You don't get injury reports for CONCACAF for some reason, but Miki Amane will likely be out for tomorrow. He's a long shot, but will play against Portland more than likely. He's coming along for that game. Do you think Miki Amane should be the starter if he comes back initially, or do you think we keep riding Harbor Miller ball here?
In my opinion, you give Yamane a couple games, just like you take him on in the 60th minute, just let him ease back into his role. I think he should be your starter. An experienced player. I think he has upsides that Miller doesn't. We saw versus San Diego, which is a good and bad thing. We saw Yamane everywhere. We saw him at left wing at times, which is why I say it's a bad thing, because that means your left winger wasn't doing anything.
Okay.
But the attacking presence that Yamane brings is higher than the attacking presence Miller brings, which this isn't any disrespect or any criticism.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of criticism a bit on Harbor Miller? I feel like Miller's offense can be better. But again, he's still young, and he's shown that, in my opinion, Miller is a starter for MLS, and he could be a starter for a lot of MLS teams right now. But I think, again, Yamane is just a couple levels above him there, and you want to have that chemistry with your back line as much as possible. And having a player who, I'm pretty sure he played or started most of, if not all, games last season. Yeah, you want that in your team. You want that connection with Peck.
Yeah, no, 100%. Once again, I think Miki Amane is a huge impact, best right back in all of MLS. Call me a homer, I don't care. Should have been an all-star last year. Miki Amane, his chemistry with Peck really brings out a lot in Peck. The way that they get integrated in the attack for the Galaxy. Lars Player of the Year here. But I think as they pointed out in the chat, I don't think Miki Amane is in as urgent need to start as Nascimento is, in my opinion, because the attack is really, really frustrating for the Galaxy to watch. It's really lethargic. It's really slow. And they just don't look poised to play the build-up that they've been playing. It just doesn't look as good. And you could blame that on Ricky Puig. I feel like at a point, that's a lazy excuse. As good of a player he is, the Galaxy have to step it up. Like you said, Sean, Miki Amane gets involved in the attack. He's very involved in the attack. He's even when we first signed him, we knew that he was like an attacking fullback, almost like a wing back, the way that he gets involved in the offense, makes overlapping runs with Gabriel Peck. The Galaxy could use him back. That being said, wait till he's 100% more than you wait with Nascimento. Nascimento's on loan. We need Miki Amane for like as long as he's still a game changer for the Galaxy. So I think Yamane gets the start eventually, but I don't think he gets the start at Portland, if I had to guess. I think he comes off the bench, and that's fine. And maybe Nascimento comes off the bench, but I just feel like with the state of our offense, we're in more dire need for Nascimento than we are Miki Amane. But let's go right into LA Galaxy versus Herediano. This is our official match preview. The Galaxy will play Herediano at Dignity Health Sports Park. That match will kick off at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow, March 12th. By the way, the graphics today, shout out to Galaxy Runs LA and Galaxy News 101. Wonderful gentlemen. Make sure to follow them on all socials. But yeah, what you ready for this, Sean? What's your preview on this?
I'm nervous for this game. I need to be completely real. I'm really nervous. If we have a strong fluid attack as we did versus St. Louis, which is again crazy to say considering we didn't win that game, didn't even come close to winning that game as the scoreline shows. But the eye test said otherwise. We had our chances. If we get those same chances, I can tell you that I would be a lot higher on this team than what I currently am. But again, yeah. I'm just so nervous, man, because if you give up a goal, especially like in the first 10, 15 minutes,
it's over.
In my opinion, you're out, because even if you manage to score 2 goals, which we haven't seen them do this season in any game, you would still get knocked out due to the away goal, which again, we mentioned it last week. Away goals in 2025 is absurd. In my opinion.
Such a bad rule. Such a bad rule, bro.
If you don't want to go into extra time, go straight to PKs. But that's just my opinion. But man, if we can switch it up here and we get a goal in the first 10, 15 minutes, I would be a lot happier and a lot more calmer, because then I would have confidence we go through here.
Yeah. I think confidence is key for the Galaxy. I want to touch on that a bit. I think if the Galaxy get the first goal very early on and they set the tempo, they win this match. I don't think there's a doubt in my mind that if we're able to control the game, make Herediano chase it, make them really work to pull this game back into our hands. And by the way, these games do not go to extra time. They go straight to PKs. If this game ends 1-0, the only way it would go to PKs is if this game ends 1-0 in favor of the Galaxy. It would go straight to PKs. Night game, absolutely love that. I'm worried because of the away goal rule. I'm not as worried about the Galaxy getting at least a draw here. I think is very possible. I think they'll get a win, but the fact of the matter is the Galaxy need to put on the best defensive performance they put on all season to win this match. If you're going to win this match, look at the guy on the graphic, Amiro Garces. Bit of a sophomore slump he's hit. I think that's contributed a lot to our defensive regression. But as we said, offense is the best defense. If you control the game, if you're creating opportunities, I thought in the first leg we had some chances. If we get the same chances, if not even more, considering we're the home team, the Galaxy will take care of Herediano. That being said, I'll go into my match prediction. I think the Galaxy draw. No, I'll say we win 2-1 and we get eliminated on away goal. I think it's going to be a frustrating one. And the fact that, if it's 1-0, straight to penalty kicks. I had to do some research on this because of the earlier game today that I thought was going to eventually go to penalty kicks. I think the Galaxy will get a win here. First win of the campaign. I've been predicting wins a lot, but I do not think we will go through. which is very much disappointing for the Galaxy. I hope I'm wrong, but I just have a feeling that we will not be able to. I don't think we'll be able to keep a clean sheet. John McCarthy in net, more than likely in net. I think he's the starter for the entirety of this tournament. I think John McCarthy is more than capable of holding it down for the Galaxy as well. I don't think there's a big drop off. In fact, a lot of people think that John McCarthy is more quality to be the starter. And hey, in my opinion, it's like I wouldn't entirely mind John McCarthy being the starter because it's like, let's see what happens. But there's like no scapegoat if we lose this time because Novak Mitrovic is not in the equation. But I think the Galaxy earn a win here. 2-1, do not advance. It's just hard for this team to keep a clean sheet. I think the goals will be scored by Christian Ramirez. He had a very good chance. Berkey stood on his head that game against St. Louis, by the way. Absolutely. The game could have been so much different. Last year, too, this guy just does not like us. Fair enough, though. I think Christian Ramirez gets his first. I've been predicting this for so long. It's bound to happen. Christian Ramirez gets his first goal. And Gabriel Peck gets the second for the Galaxy in a 2-1 win. Go ahead, Sean.
Before I give my prediction here, sorry, I saw something in the chat here, a question about what do I think for people saying they'd rather get knocked out now than advance and go to next round and potentially get knocked out. All I'm going to say is that if we do not advance here, I would be a little disappointed because I want to see us do the best as possible in every single game, in every single competition. But it might be a blessing in disguise. We have already seen this month fixture congestion is a huge issue. And when you have a player like Painsil coming back soon, hopefully, he had I'm pretty sure, a major injury, and you just don't want to put that pressure on him, having him play 100% multiple games in a week, risking him injuring himself more. And the same goes to anyone coming back from injury here. So it might be a blessing in disguise. Obviously, again, I wanted to do well. I'm predicting the same. Every single game so far this season, I've said 2-1. Haven't been correct once. But I'll go for a 2-1 win here. Last week, I'm pretty sure I said the exact same players. I could be wrong. But I'm going for Gabriel Peck to open the score and then give my boy Winder a goal here too. You're going to see Winder with the goal.
Okay. I want to touch on Winder a bit. I think he's been very disappointing. The first leg that we lost, I don't think we really touched on this as much as we should have, but Elijah Winder is the reason why we conceded that goal, by the way. There's no debate. That is not a foul. You have to be stronger. You have to hit the weight room, Elijah. You're not going to get that call. You're never going to get that call in Concacaf. You can't depend on it. You have to be stronger. You have to be more physical to be a midfielder. You play in a very physical league, and Concacaf is even more physical because the referees don't know what they're doing. It's So I think Winder's been disappointing, in my opinion. I think he was my breakout player of the year, and he's not lived up to that so far. He's had opportunities, probably more opportunities than he'll get all season as soon as our midfielders start coming back. And hey, he's not starting over Isaiah Parente right now. And he's not like I feel like Winder has a lot to prove for me. And that's kind of crazy because I put a lot of faith in him at the start of the year, but he's been a bit disappointing. I'd love to see him get on the score sheet though. That would be something. Oh yeah, Cerrillo has also been disappointing. I mean, him and Winder just did not work in the double pivot. I thought that was going to be a good connection. I like what Edwin Cerrillo did a lot last season. He had his ups and downs for sure. I thought he's kind of lost that step. I think you're seeing a lot of Galaxy players kind of take a step backward this year, which is a bit disappointing to see. So I think, I think Winder has to take a step up. But like you said, Sean, I'd love to see him get a goal on this. But Gabriel Peck for sure, I think could step up in this match. So it'll be one to look out for. Drop your predictions in the chat, and we shall see. We shall see how that comes to fruition. But Let's jump into a bit off topic. Joseph Paintsil is back in training, as you could see pictured here, throwing a ball at I believe his name is what is it, Nick Mersch, Zach Mersch, Z Mersch. I know he's like Z Mersch on Instagram or something. But he is part of the clubs. I see this guy everywhere. Paintsil's back though. This was him throwing at him the ball because they did a birthday celebration thing. As you could see, he's back in training. Huge piece if the Galaxy can get him back. So yeah, that is not Luka Doncic, by the way. go ahead, Sean.
I am so happy to see this. I saw it first from your post on Instagram, and when I saw that, I don't think you guys understand how happy I got here. Last year, Paintsil was one of my guys, one of the people who I was rooting for, especially when some of the fan base wasn't rooting for him because he had a poor stretch of games, but he was playing at striker and had Fagundes providing service to him on the left. But again, that's something else that could be talked about at a later time. But I am so happy to see Paintsil. I will be even more happy to see him score at Dignity Health and then hear blessings on the speakers again afterwards. I will do anything to get that back right now, that's for sure. But this is going to be a huge upside for the club whenever he returns. It's going to take a huge toll or a huge roll off of Peck here because now he still will get marked by 2-3 players whenever he has the ball. But even when Peck's moving, you don't need to double, triple up on him anymore because now you have the possibility of someone just launching a ball up to Paintsil who will beat you in a race here. Let's be real. Nobody's stopping Joseph Paintsil when it comes to a race. And then Paintsil goes down, puts it on his right, finesses in the back of the net there. So it's, again, takes a huge roll off Peck and hopefully sorts our attack out for now.
You've seen Gabriel Peck be frustrated a lot this year because as soon as he gets on the ball, 2 or 3 men immediately there to stop him. The Galaxy, I said it on the live pod, easiest team in MLS to game plan for right now. Everything in the attack goes through Gabriel Peck's wing. Diego Fagundes' wing, non-existent. It's not there. We don't play through it. And if we do play through it, it's to switch it to Peck's side. Joseph Paintsil is such a relief because, go ahead, Joseph Paintsil said this in the MLS Cup final against the New York Red Bulls. Go ahead, put 2 or 3 guys on Peck. I'm right there, and I'm faster than anybody in this league. He's faster than any football player in this world. Joseph Paintsil will beat you. He's that guy. He's so confident in what he's able to do. The Galaxy are playing with one of their 3 DPs right now. If you get Joseph Paintsil back, it helps so much. It changes this team drastically. I don't care what people say. Paintsil is a game changer for this team, like you said, Sean. He is that guy. And we have the most deadly wing duo in all of Major League Soccer with Joseph Paintsil and Gabriel Peck. Right now, it's not there because everything's just going through Peck. But when you get him back, he's gonna be a problem. He's gonna be a problem for any defense. So I'm so excited to see him back on the training field. And yes, he does have a song coming out, I believe. We saw a sneak peek on his Instagram. So pay attention to that. But I'm so excited to have Joseph Paintsil back. This just made my day seeing him back in training. Like you said, Sean, just you can't see this and not have a smile on your face as he's vaulting a ball into one of our staff members. So love Joseph Paintsil. He's honestly my favorite player for the Galaxy. So excited to see him back. And before we go into the preview of the game against the Portland Timbers, make sure that you guys like and subscribe right now if you haven't already. Be much appreciated. And we will also be having a live watch along Sunday for this game. Let's just jump right into it. The LA Galaxy will face off against the Portland Timbers Sunday, March 16th at 1:45 p.m. This is an afternoon kickoff at Providence Park. We are the away team here. And preview, Sean, you ready?
Yes, but I'm sorry, I wanted to backtrack to Paintsil real quick. And you're mentioning here with the MLS Cup. And he's one of my favorite quotes. One of my favorite things any Galaxy player has ever said was, "I tried to warn them, but they
Yeah.
didn't listen. And to me, when I heard that, I knew from that point on his confidence to be one of, if not the best player in MLS is there, because to him, why aren't you defending me? If you're not defending me, yeah, I'm gonna go and score. I'm gonna punish you for that. And that's
Right.
just the type of confidence that you love to see out of any player. And that's I was really disappointed with him getting injured because of that. But he's gonna have that confidence coming back. Again, why won't you be defending me? Why are you only defending Peck? I'm
Yeah.
gonna go down and score on you. So yeah, I just wanted to get that point out as well.
And it's like, please. He's like, please put people on Peck. That's the difference. Because when you have Diego Fagundes on the wing, he's like, we could go switch it to Peck's wing. Like, I'll just be chilling here. Diego Fagundes, I forget who said this take, but it's the most true statement I've seen, and it's been proven time and time again this season. Diego Fagundes is an outdated MLS winger. He is not an MLS winger. He's not an MLS starting winger caliber if you're a team that wants to compete for championships and win a lot of games. Diego Fagundes, maybe it works in MLS 2.0. He's been around the league for over 10 years now. He's not an old guy either. He started playing at, I believe, 16 or 17. He made his debut. MLS winger then, absolutely that works. MLS winger now, I'm not so sure. That's why I think, attacking midfielder maybe works a bit more. But yeah, back to Galaxy versus Portland. Go ahead, Sean. Let's hear your predictions for this match.
Yes, sorry about that. I am really excited for this game compared to the game tomorrow. Yeah, I am so much more excited to play Portland. I mean, the last time we played them there, it didn't go our way, which, I mean, why would I be excited if we got dunked on there? But they don't have Evander anymore. You got to remember that. They do not have Evander, which is a huge blow for them. I mean, we're in a huge blow as well, considering we don't have half of our squad. But I'm convinced that we can go to Portland, get a little smash and grab, steal 3 points even. I think that's a huge possibility. Score prediction?
Yeah.
1-0.
Oh, just a straight smash and grab win. We would love that from the Galaxy right now. Just to hold a clean sheet. I'm here for that prediction. The Galaxy won in Portland last year, I believe. Oh no, we drew in Portland. Wait.
No, that's the game we gave up 4-2.
Oh yes. I forget because it was just a straight shootout. It was 4-2, but I know we were in that game pretty much all of it. But historically, it's been a tough place for the Galaxy to play. I think, Portland has one of the best atmospheres in all of MLS when you're looking at, just elite MLS atmospheres. I don't think it gets any better than Portland. That being said, they replaced Evander with David DaCosta, and David DaCosta is nowhere near Evander because almost no MLS player in the league is. That being said, I don't think the Galaxy will win this match. I think this will be a 2-0 Portland win, unfortunately. I think the Galaxy will drop their 4th straight MLS match. And I just don't have much hope in this team on a 3rd game of the week being able to. I know we'll probably do a lot of rotation in this match. The lads are going to be very tired from CONCACAF midweek. Heavy legs, having to play as many games as we played this month. This is the most strenuous month I've ever seen as long as I've been a fan of the LA Galaxy with CONCACAF, with MLS play. I think the Galaxy dropped this one in Portland, just an away game, tough place to play. I think Portland probably get on the board very early on, and from then we just chase the game. We'll probably have chances. Portland's defense is pretty suspicious. Maybe the clean sheet for Portland isn't the safest prediction because they don't have a great defense. But that being said, I think our offense is just not together right now. So maybe Nascimento changes it all, though. Maybe Nascimento changes it all, and I'll be looking back on it and being like, hey, fair enough. I'm more than happy with that result. But just worth noting that if the Galaxy, a bit off topic here, if the Galaxy advance, will play Tigres. Just gets better and better in CONCACAF for the Galaxy. But back to this. I think it's a tough matchup for the Galaxy. They've traveled so much on the road the past couple of weeks, just going back and forth. A trip up into Cascadia isn't too bad. It's not the most miles, but once again, I just don't see the Galaxy winning this match. So 2-0 Portland. I think probably David Da Costa and Cabecita Rodriguez get the goals for them. But I don't see us coming out of this match with 3 points. A draw would be fine though. A draw would be it'd be a good result. Get a draw, get a point, come back home to the next game's on the road as well. But you get to reset back at home and kind of regroup and all of that. So a point's definitely on the table. That being said, I think they'll just get on the board first, and that will kind of be it because this team hasn't shown the grit that they're able to come back this year. The Vancouver game, I think, was the most grit that we saw from this team. That being said, we collapsed when it mattered most in the final minutes. So I don't think we have the depth for this game. And third game in a week, I just don't see us winning it. If there was a game in MLS play we were going to win this week, it would have been St. Louis, in my opinion, the home game. So Cabecita's injured Cabecita has a knee injury. Okay. Then David Da Costa brace or something. I just don't see the Galaxy coming out of this one with a win, if I'm being completely honest. But so that's what we have from all of this. That being said, we will open this final segment up to more chat questions before we head out of here. Whether you have a question on any of the previous results, any of the injuries, or CONCACAF. We went over a lot tonight. Just anything you have, throw it. You could address it at Sean. You could address it at myself, or we could just both answer it. Go ahead. We will be here for that before we wrap it up here. So, send it our way, guys.
For the Portland game, I think a 1-1 tie is very reasonable here too. But I think if we get a 1-1 tie, it'll feel more of a 2 points loss and not 1 point gained type of game.
3 points lost, 1 point.
Oh yeah, 2 points lost, 1 point.
Yeah. I mean, look, if we get a draw on the road in the form we're in, though, I feel like I'd still be a bit relieved. I get what you mean. I mean, maybe we drop a late goal or something, but I think it is very unlikely that we get a win, in my opinion. But hey, I'm all for it. If we do, I'd love to see it. I think the Galaxy have a real shot at least getting a point, but I just don't see it, unfortunately. But I'd love to. Let's see. Okay. We got a lot of Arsenal comments in here. Predictions for UCL final. Okay. I think it's I think you get the El Clasico. I think you get Real Madrid versus Barcelona. My Liverpool went out today in penalties. As soon as I saw Darwin Nunez step up to the spot, I was like, okay, it was a good run, lads. It was a good run. We just got outclassed. If you can't score a goal at home, it's just not going to happen. Same thing goes with the Galaxy, though. Let's draw the Galaxy right back into this one. If you can't score a goal at home, it's just not going to happen. But Sean, we got a question for you. If the Galaxy don't make the playoffs, do you think Vanny gets dumped?
No, because you also got to look at here. Let's say you don't have 5 of your players for the first 2.5 months here. That's 2.5 months where you have to rely on a lot of Ventura County boys here, where at that point you might already be chasing a play. Was it considered a play-in game or wild card game or something like that? Where you might be chasing that towards the end of the year. So I don't think he gets sacked. If you don't make it this year and next year, then it's time for Vanny to go after that.
I'll go one further. The Galaxy could win Wooden Spoon, and I don't think you sack Greg Vanny. The Galaxy could win. They could be the worst team in MLS this year. You do not sack the manager who just won you an MLS Cup. Are we not learning with St. Louis fire? I mean, they didn't win MLS Cup, but they got first seed, and then St. Louis fired Bradley Carnell. And now look at the Philadelphia Union. You don't give up Greg Vanny. He's the second, as voted on by the MLS front office. Greg Vanny is the second best coach in MLS. You don't give him up. I guarantee you, if Greg Vanny were gone tomorrow, he would have a job the next day.
Oh, for sure.
Even if we miss the playoffs, he would. But let's see the next question. Portland dealing with their own injuries. Cabecita's out. Crepo and Mascara 50-50 for this match. Does that change your mentality going into Portland? We'll start with you, Sean.
I think your mentality completely depends on tomorrow. And I think it's reasonable to say that because if you lose, you're going to be on a slump going into this weekend, losing 5 games in a row. But if you win or tie, then I think your positivity is still up there because you got goal, or hopefully you get goals tomorrow. So, yeah, it
Yeah.
shows you can score, and then you go into a place which can be an easy, not easy, but could be a little smash and grab.
I think it's I mean, seeing that makes me a bit more optimistic. I know Crepo is a very, good MLS caliber keeper. That being said, the backup goalkeeper, James Pantemis, had an amazing game. Should have won goalkeeper. I mean, Roman Berkey deserved it, but if Berkey didn't have the game that he had against the Galaxy, Pantemis would have absolutely won the starting spot in Team of the Week for goalkeeper. So I don't think that's a huge drop off. But I think Juan Mascara is a very good player, and seeing Cabecita, one of their DPs, out, it's like finally we're playing a team that has DPs out like us. Let's see. How was last game's attendance? We'll take this final question, then we'll head out. Last game's attendance was interesting. The attendance for the match was about 19,000. Not up to par, if I'm being completely honest, for the team. I mean, I get it. We're not in great form, and to be honest, I don't love Sunday games. I much rather the games be on Saturday. That was on. I'm not tweaking. That was on. Yeah, it was Sunday Night Soccer. Get us as Galaxy Runs LA said. Get us off of Sunday Night Soccer ASAP, please. Get us out. I'm so sick of being prime time and watching us getting humiliated at home. So the attendance wasn't that much. It was a bit shocking in my opinion, but let's see. Any new spots with the remodel to eat at? I mean, I went pretty early, so Kathy's cookies, they're always amazing. I know you're a fan of that, Sean. So I enjoyed getting some Kathy's cookies before the match. I heard the new pizza is good. We've had some very heated debates in our group chat about the pizza. I'm yet to try it. If anyone wants to know how good that is, let me know. And yeah, so I haven't seen any new spots, but AFJA does a great job. Pupusa is with a purpose. Can't go wrong with the pupusa. So I would say that. And yeah. We want Barry Chance-Need to leave. No, they do not. Barry is the cult hero of the LA Galaxy fan base. People love Miguel Barry. But yeah, I agree. I think the Galaxy. I think Sunday games affect the attendance as well. If you're expecting high attendance tomorrow, don't. It's been really bad in Concacaf, so do not expect anything out of tomorrow. If you're expecting a high attendance, it's not. I would guess somewhere around like 10,000. I think you'll see a lot of empty seats around the middle aisle for the Galaxy. ACB usually has a good amount of people in it. I will be sliding in there. I know I have GA tickets, but I will sneak my way into there tomorrow. That will absolutely be happening. And yeah, that's all I have tonight. Is that anything you want to add, Sean?
I just want to quickly add on to the attendance. 2 things with that. For tomorrow, 1, the entire stadium is not open. So on TV, it might look a little more full than you think or than you might have thought today. But for the last game, the attendance-wise, that hurt me a little bit. I can't lie. I was able to go see you paid in like what 30, a little under 30 minutes before the game.
Oh yeah. And then halftime.
In ACB, and I didn't. There was no struggle for me to get in or out and be able to go talk with you for a little bit.
Dude, why couldn't it have been like that against San Diego?
Then you had people leaving in like even starting in the 70th minute. People in the 200s were leaving, which again, you're completely entitled to do whatever you want. But this team needs your support. They need you there. They need you loud, especially with the situation we're in. If you can go, please go support this club. Great things are ahead. I can promise you that for sure.
I agree. This is not a situation where we need to be protesting in any way. I know I've seen some shouts like "Bring the protest back." This isn't this is not a front office issue. There's nobody in the front office who needs to get the sack. But yeah, do you know perchance like what sections are going to be blocked off?
I'm pretty sure it's all of the 200s, which wasn't up
Really?
for sale. I could be
Oh,
wrong, and maybe it opened up today, or I just completely missed it. But I was looking at AXS throughout the past week, and I didn't see anything in the 200s.
yeah. They probably want to move people down, so like you
Down,
said,
yeah.
it looks better for TV. It is going to be it's going to be raining tomorrow, so
Oh, yeah.
dress accordingly, guys. If we will have a live podcast, we will post about that tomorrow. If not, do not be expecting one, because I will not be there at least, unless Sean is able to solo it. But we'll see. We'll have more information on that if it does happen. But as for me, I am LA Galaxy Buzz, LA Galaxy _Buzz on Instagram. That is where you could find me. And Sean.
I am Galaxy News 101 on Instagram and on Twitter. I want to say thank you all so much for the support recently. You guys have been absolutely amazing, and not only those, but also for here on the podcast. And if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. Your support means the world to us, and it really helps us continue do what we do.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for all the support. Everyone interacting in the chat. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. You know, we're only able to do this because you guys show up every single week, and credit to everyone who does things in the background. Like Tony is always working very hard, as well as yourself, Sean, even when you're not on the podcast. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you guys so much. We will be back Sunday against Portland at 1:45 with a live watch along, and we will be back as well for our regular scheduled live podcast next Tuesday at 8. Remember, that is where you can find us. Thank you guys. Appreciate you.
Have a great night.